Still cold. Every time. Okay. I don't know why this video is so hard for me to film. So it's different, I guess, than the other ones that I normally do because I've tried to gear myself toward traveling and just experiences as a mom, as a woman who is making every attempt to not lose her identity, or maybe not even lose, maybe find her identity. Like, I think I never really found that, so saying lose my identity is probably not really what's happening. But, you know, trying to, if you're in that situation, trying to not lose your identity as a mom, a wife, a partner, whatever your situation is, you know, a friend, you can get pulled in so many different directions, and it can be a struggle sometimes to just maintain who it is that you are. And so even in my case, like, I don't know that I ever really found out who that was because I had Devin when I was just so young. And before that, I just had a personality type where I was a people pleaser and I did everything that they wanted me to do. I became who they wanted me to be. I just wanted to make people happy and make their lives easy and simple. I didn't want to be a burden to people, so I just made every attempt to become who they needed me to be in the moment. And then I had Devin and I became a mom at such a young age. And so I became who he needed me to be. And I tried to be a wife and a partner to someone who was verbally and physically abusive. And you can't really find who you are in that situation. I was already kind of doomed to find who I was. You just can't. There's just no possible way to figure out who you are because the other person's not capable of allowing that. They don't want you to find out who you are. So I just didn't do that. I just didn't know how to do that. So the channel has kind of become a way of being this age and trying to find out who I am and trying to still be a good mom, be a good employee, be a good partner in a relationship, be a good friend, and not let all of the other stuff get in the way. And it's really difficult. So I love to travel, and I thought that's really the way that I find myself. It wasn't extravagant trips. It wasn't big ones. Sometimes it wasn't even long trips. But man, am I a penny pincher, and I could find ways to get myself out of this little tiny small town that I live in, to go anywhere and just feel like I could breathe. So that was really what I was trying to bring to this channel and to my blog. So this is a little bit different than any of that, but in an attempt to find out who I am and everything that goes along with that, I'm trying to prioritize myself and prioritize me as a person and a human being. And so for so long, I just have not felt good, you know? And it's more than just being tired. It's more than just being a mom. It's more than just being pulled in a million different directions. It's definitely more than just COVID. It's more than the depression and the anxiety. It's just, those are the answers that I get. And I haven't felt good since I was young. Like, I remember when Devin was about a year and a half or 2 years old, around there. I remember being in the yard trying to play with him, and I went to the doctor shortly after and telling her, I don't feel like this is normal. I feel exhausted. Devin was about 2 at the time, so I was about 20 years old, and I just remember telling her, as a 20-year-old, I shouldn't be this exhausted. I don't feel like I can do anything. I just am drained all the time. And so she was like, it's normal. You're a mom now. And this is just how moms feel. I was so young, and I just was like, well, she's a doctor, she knows. But it baffled me because I was like, even as a mom, like, I watch moms, older moms than I was at the time, out there at the park, or in the yard with their kids, and just really having fun and enjoying their life and laughing and running. And I couldn't do any of that. So when I went back and talked about it again, I was like, I really want to talk about this. I really feel like there's something wrong. Like I have all of these symptoms that are happening, and I have for my entire life, but it just seemed to amplify when I had Devin when I was 18. And so she was like, well, you also have anxiety and depression, which you were diagnosed with in middle school. So I had generalized anxiety that they diagnosed me in elementary school with that. I was in kindergarten when they first told me, I first learned that word. I didn't even know what that word was. I just remember I would just have these attacks where I couldn't breathe, and I would be in school and they would have to take me into the hallway, and then, like I said, the vomiting of the blood and stuff. So that started early on. And then it was when I got into like 8th grade, freshman year, they started tossing around the word depression along with it. So it's a struggle because I'm not disagreeing that I have those things. I really am not, because I know that I do. But I've had them for so long that I'm very familiar with how each of those feel. I know what my body's telling me, and I know I may not be able to control it, but I know that that's what it is. So even if I can't get my mind to stop, I'm very aware that that's my cycle that I'm in, whether that be anxiety, and I can tell myself, although I can't sometimes talk myself out of an anxiety attack, but I'm very aware that that's what it is in the moment. When I'm in that cycle of depression, where it's the up and down, when I'm going into the down phase, I'm very aware of when that's happening. And so I feel like when those words are on your chart, it's hard to get people to believe that it's something else, because that's all I've been told. I've gone back several times, because the second time that I went back and said, hey, I really want to talk about this, I feel like something is wrong, and I know that I'm a mom, but I'm watching all these other moms and they're out there playing with their kids. And it was, well, you've had anxiety and depression, and that's what this is. And so for years and years and years, all through my 20s, that's what I heard. But on top of that, they're telling you this, and then you're in an abusive relationship. And so you think, well, maybe they're just dragging me down. Maybe all of my physical symptoms are from trauma-induced things. And then I was 30 years old when I got out of that relationship, and then they diagnosed me with the PTSD, and I had all of the other things that were going on mentally. So that was exhausting, trying to figure out all of my mental health. That takes a toll, and it takes over your entire life. So all the physical stuff got pushed to the back burner, because honestly, you just couldn't tell the difference between what was what in those moments. I think for a solid 2 or 3 years, everything just kind of meshed together, and I couldn't tell what was coming from what, because I was just kind of in this spiral of trying to pull myself out, and then I would have these triggers, and I would go back down, and then I would come back up. It was just an up and down cycle. And so I focused so much on trying to get better mentally that all of the physical stuff got pushed to the side, and I just told myself, if it's still around later on, once I feel healthy mentally, then we'll deal with it then. So that was in 2015. So 2018 rolls around, and I had a really stressful event. I had a kidney stone, which I've been having since 2004. I get 1 or 2 a year. Most of them I cannot pass. They can't ever figure out why. And like I said, that's been going on since 2004, and it's 2021. I have one right now. They can't ever figure out why I have them, or why I get so many, or why they get so big so quickly. They can clean me completely out, clean out my kidneys, flush them out of me, and then it'll be a year later, and I have several, and they're so large that I can't pass them. But it's frustrating to never have an answer. And then, like I said, in 2018, I had that, and then my grandmother passed away in August, and then my grandfather passed away 3 months later, and I had a lithotripsy. The next day went to my grandfather's visitation, and I remember my left leg and my left foot was so swollen, and I thought it was because I had been standing, or maybe hadn't been paying attention, because I was kind of numb from the painkillers that I was on because I was passing a bunch of stones while I was at the visitation. So I took a painkiller to try to not be in a lot of pain. But so I was like, maybe I just wasn't paying attention to what was happening, what was going on, and stood on my foot too long. Like, I don't really know. Maybe I shoved it into a high heel and maybe I shouldn't have. It'll go away. I remember taking a picture of it though, because it seemed so abnormal and it was discolored. And I took a picture and I sent it to several people that night. And I was like, this seems odd. It seems weird. Do I worry about it or no? And I know a lot of people were like, just see, maybe it's just swollen. Maybe you just have a lot of fluid. Just we'll see how it goes. I had a follow-up a couple of weeks later with my urologist. And I brought it up to them, so they did a lot of testing. They tested my kidney function because the swelling never went down, and it hasn't gone down since that night in 2018, and that was December 2nd, December 3rd of 2018, I believe. I've been swollen since then. Sometimes it's worse than others. Sometimes, like right now, it's just a little puffy and you can push down on it. Other times, it is huge. And I try to document, I try to take pictures. That was really the start of, okay, maybe I should start focusing on the physical stuff again because something doesn't feel right and my body doesn't feel right. And it's slowly gotten worse since then. And so I don't feel at 36 I should be seeing as many specialists as I'm seeing. I don't think at 36 I should feel tired and I'm constantly swollen. I hurt everywhere. My joints and my everything feels like it's on fire. And sometimes I have like pins and needle sensations, but I just keep getting told as far as the swelling, it's just wear compression hose. I don't know what it is. And I keep saying, like, I'm in my 30s. You're telling me that I have to wear compression socks or compression hose for the rest of my life, and you can't, like, that's it? That's it? That's my only answer? And that I'm just hurting for no reason? I had a little episode back in July that really kickstarted the whole thing, where it felt like I was having a heart attack, and not really from anxiety because I've had those before. It felt like I was dying. I was for sure something was wrong. And then I started having chest pains every single day after that, and shortness of breath, and just like a rope was around my neck, and like I could breathe, but I shouldn't be able to breathe. Like, it was the weirdest sensation. So I started paying attention to all of the little symptoms that people were treating the individual symptom and trying to compile a list of all of those and figure out what is going on, because there are times when I can't even stay awake. I'm so tired and exhausted. Even after sleeping for 7 or 8 hours, I'm exhausted. And I'll be sitting at my desk at work, or I'll be sitting in a car in the passenger seat writing, and I can't even keep my eyes open. I've never been somebody who takes naps, so that's not a thing for me. I don't just lay down and go to sleep. In the last month, like, I just can't stay awake. I'm exhausted. My body hurts and aches like I've worked out for a week straight, and it's so, like, that's the soreness that it feels, and it's in my hips, it's in my arms. I can't even lift my arms above my head some days because I'm just so weak. I try to make a fist, and I can't even clench down. Like, that's how weak I am. If you touch my skin, if you poke at me, or if I scratch my arm, it hurts. It sends these pains shooting anywhere that you poke me or trying to playfully tickle me or something. Like, it physically hurts me. And I have bruises everywhere. And it just, there are a multitude of symptoms. So you're either telling me that I have 1,000,001 things wrong with me that need to be individually treated, or there's one thing that is causing all of these symptoms that are falling underneath that everybody's just treating the symptoms. But the most frustrating part for me is to hear over and over again, nothing is wrong. Your labs are normal. I don't know what to tell you other than to wear a compression sock. I don't know, maybe you have neuropathy. To hear it being blown off and no, you don't need to come back. You know, there's nothing wrong with you. There's no need for you to come back. It makes you feel crazy. And so for somebody even for somebody who has completely, I say normal with quotations because I really don't feel like anybody, there's no normal person. Everybody has their own issues and stuff. But even for somebody who's relatively mentally healthy, it's hard to hear that over and over again and not feel like you're crazy. For somebody who has anxiety and depression and second guesses everything anyway and doesn't really want to buck the system or the people around her, like, I just try to go with the flow and make everybody's life easier. So I don't want to cause or stir up trouble for people, including my doctors. It makes me feel crazy. I feel crazy. I feel like they're telling me nothing's wrong with me. My body's telling me that there is. And I know the difference between depression and anxiety, so I know that it's not me making up symptoms. So it's disheartening. And the more I try to advocate for myself, because I get in a spot of, well, maybe I don't know, maybe it's in my head, I don't know. And then my symptoms get worse, or like trying to walk to the mailbox, I almost passed out. Like I've blacked out a couple of times in the last few weeks, but I'm lightheaded every single day for the last week and a half. I have come close to falling over because you just get dizzy and you just do that number, and caught myself. Not completely blacked out, but you know, like you get that tunnel vision, like, oh, it's happening, I'm going down. That happens almost every day, almost every single day. So I have episodes like that. I have times where that happens and I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not making it up. I'm gonna go to the doctor again. I'm gonna see if there's a specialist. I'm gonna see if there's another test that they can run. I'm gonna see if somebody will hear me out. And then they just tell you that all over again. And so you get stuck in this cycle of, I'm going to advocate for myself and I'm going to find an answer. And then you get told, no, there's nothing wrong with you. And so you go back and well, okay, you know, they said there's nothing wrong with me. I don't know. I can't go anywhere else unless I get a referral. So I can keep jumping from primary care to primary care. I feel like I keep hitting walls. So I just give up until the next bout of, I don't know what to describe it other than like a flare up. I don't know what's flaring up because I don't know what it is, but it feels like everything will kind of like, it's still there, but it sits here like it's simmering and I can go about my business. I know it's there and there are little things that'll happen, but it's kind of minute. Like it's kind of stays here at this level. And then all of a sudden I'll have like a month or two where everything's like elevated and my body is like fighting me. Like it's going crazy. It doesn't want anything to do with anything that I'm doing. And that's when I try to like get back on the train again. Like, okay, let's figure this out. So I have made the decision to just keep, even if I go into that phase of everything feels okay for now, I just am gonna have to keep going because the stop-start maybe makes it seem worse because I don't talk to anybody, I don't go see anybody, I don't push to get answers, so they don't hear from me for a few months until the next round. So maybe it seems like I am making up the pain to get medicine or whatever, which is definitely not I don't want anything. I don't want medicine. I want to know what's wrong. That's it. That's all. Like, even if it's terrible, horrible news, like I just want to know what's wrong with me so that I can make a plan. That's it. Maybe I can make sense of everything that's going on. So yeah, I thought while I'm on this journey of trying to find myself as a mom and a partner, I'm struggling to get on camera because of how I feel about myself right now in the frame of mind that I'm in. But maybe if I document, this is a part of the process. This is a part of finding yourself. This is a part of getting healthy, not just mentally, but physically, because I can't really be healthy mentally if I can't find answers physically, because this is draining me. It's exhausting. So I feel like this is all a part of my journey, and I need to share it and document it. Also, I've been on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok trying to find people who are in the same situation. I've joined groups of people who, whether it be autoimmune diseases that are hard to diagnose or endocrine, things like Cushing's and Addison's and things like that are hard to diagnose. I'm in all of these groups with these mostly women that I see on there who keep putting everything to the back burner and letting everybody tell them that they're fine, only to find out 6-10 years later they were never fine. They were right to begin with. And listening to their stories, it's similar to mine, where they can't get answers. They can't get anybody to believe them. They can't get people to run more tests. They feel like they're crazy. So joining those groups has helped me tremendously. And I thought, if there's a platform and it's helping me, maybe my story can help somebody else. We're in this journey together, and I want to help as many people as possible. And I said that from the get-go. I said with my blog, I feel like this journey is about helping people. And I said from the get-go, it would be, whether that was, my story with the domestic abuse, whether that was my story with the PTSD and going through that situation and trying to find help and trying to talk it out, whether that be trying to find a life outside of that, whether that's being a single mom. I was broke for a long time, all of the things that I have experienced in my life. And if it can help someone else, then that means that I went through it for a reason. I truly feel like I experienced things, some of it horrible, some of it people have experienced worse. So, but I feel like if we can't use the trauma and the bad stuff that happens to us and turn it into something positive and help other people by using that experience, then it was all for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel it. And it may not be how everybody feels, but I don't want to sit back and think that I went through it for no reason. It was just an experience that I had. I want to know that I can turn that around and I can use that. It's not, whether that be the abuse, it's not his story or he doesn't have control over that. Like, I took that back. The doctors don't have control over this story. I want to know that I took that back and I took initiative. The PTSD, the mental health stuff, I took control of all of that and I'm using it for a purpose. So I felt like it was important for me to sit down and have this conversation. And like I said, I know this is not something that's normal for my channel or my blog, but I think that if I can... Sorry, sometimes it gets really hard for me to breathe. Anyway, I just want to sit down and talk to you guys every once in a while and maybe do some follow-ups. I've got several appointments coming up. I have an appointment with a cardiologist coming up. I have an appointment with a gastroenterologist coming up. I have an appointment with my primary care physician coming up. So we'll see what all of that brings over the next couple of weeks. And like I said, maybe you guys can follow me on this journey and maybe it helps somebody else. And if it does, that's all I can ask for. If my answers help find your answers, then all the better. I really hope so. We have kids to take care of and school to get them to do and work to do every day. And you know, like I said, your everyday, my house is a mess right now. I'm gonna be honest, my house is a disaster. Do I think that my kids probably would like a mom that gets out there and plays and is much more energetic and happy? And sure, absolutely. Do I think that my partner, he probably does want a partner who participates in life a little more, other than sitting like a potato on the couch, you know? But here we are. Here we are. I would like to do that stuff. That'd be really cool. I would really love it. So anyway, follow me on this journey. I want to be able to help as many people as I can along my journey in life, because I really feel like that's what I was put here to do. So yeah, but I hope everybody has a fantastic day, whatever day this goes up and whatever day you're seeing it. And I hope that you find a little bit of peace today and happiness and joy in whatever it is that you're doing. Find one thing, even if you're having a bad day, one thing that you can find joy in. And I will see you guys next time.